Hello everyone, this is Linda Hicks with Scrap Stars Paper Crafting, and it is Sunday Paper Fun, and today we're going to make a very interesting and cute card. This is called a diamond fold card. These are the same except I have a little background on this card. And you can see it's a diamond fold because it has two diamonds stacked on each other, and they have some height on them. They're just a really cute card, and I love this paper we're using. This is the product of the month of last month. It's still available for $5 with a special purchase of, I think you have to spend $75 to get the product of the month for $5. But it comes with this really pretty green and then these really beautiful flower patterns, and it's in the new color of Peaceful Pine. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to make this card. It is a little more complicated because it is got diagonals, so it will be a little challenging, but I thought it ended up being so cute. It was worth it. So we're gonna just get a regular piece of paper. This is the new color Peaceful Pine, and it is 11 by 8.5, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5 to make a basic card size. So we're going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to score this side at 4 1/4. So let's get this up there, 4 1/4. Get my blade out of the way, and let's score this down. Okay, and then I'm going to move my card to the side. I'm going to move this up so you can see, because I'm going to bring it down here so I can see it better. I'm going to bring it the edge of the card. Here's the score line. I'm going to bring the edge of the card right to the gutter. There we go. And I'm going to mark it at 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go over 1, 2.5. And I'm just going to put a little pencil mark there, and I can erase it later if it shows. And we'll go ahead and go from this corner of my pencil mark to the diagonal corner right here. So I'm going to line those both up, this corner and my pencil mark in the gutter. And then I'm going to take my cutter, and when you cut, you want to cut from the broad side of your paper, not at the angle, not at the corner, because it'll bunch up your corner, won't cut it very nicely. You want a nice angle when you cut. So this piece you're going to use again, and this goes on your card. Let me show you. We're going to fold this card. This is your first triangle to your card here. So keep these two pieces, and we're going to set them aside. Now I'm going to take some white paper, and I'm going to cut this at 5. Let's see, what do I want to cut this at? I want to cut this at 4. Set this piece aside, and then cut 2 5 1/4 pieces of white paper. All right, so 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to do it again, 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, there we go. And then this is just a scrap. Okay, so I'm going to set this one piece aside, and then this piece I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take it down to the gutter on this side, and it's at 4 inches, and I'm going to go over 2.5. So here's my 2 1/4, 2.5, and I'm going to just make a light little pencil mark that I can erase later if it shows, and I'm going to line that up to my gutter again. And so I have my pencil mark here in the gutter and my corner in the gutter, and cutting from the broad side to the tip, we are going to cut again, and this is going to make the inside piece of my card. Isn't that pretty? I love that. So that's the back. Now you don't have to do a white border if you don't want to. You could just do colors, but this beautiful paper pack is vellum, and so it kind of shows through, and I thought the white just really looks sharp on it. So it does make it a little more challenging the more layers of triangles that you have. So 2 triangles would be plenty, but because I needed the white border, I'm doing 3 triangles. Okay, so now we're going to take a piece of paper out of my paper pack here, and I like the flower paper, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut. It is at a direction, so I'm going to cut this at 4 inches this way, 4 inches up. Put this aside, and I'm going to go to 5 1/4 this way. Oh no, I want it at 4, don't I? I want it at 4. Let's see. Nope, I want it one size smaller. So I'm going to cut this at, instead of 4 by 5 1/4, I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4, because it's got to go one size smaller, 3 3/4. So I've got this little strip. I don't know what I would use that for, but maybe for the inside of a card somewhere. So I'm going to keep it. And then I'm going to turn this, and this is going to be at 5. Okay, so 5, and 3 1/4. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece that I did with the other 2. I'm going to line it up down here at the bottom, right along the side with the gutter. I'm going to go ahead and measure 2 1/2. And I'm just going to put a little tiny pencil mark that I can erase later. And I'm going to line that pencil mark tip up with this corner. And let's make sure it's lined up nicely. Yes, on this side and on this side. Okay. Put this down and cut on the broad side again, holding your paper. This is slippery paper. Okay, and so then this will be the piece that goes inside here, and this will look really pretty like that. Okay, so you can see, here we go. So all of these layers will lay nicely with a tiny little border all the way around with each color. Okay, I'm going to put these aside now for a moment, because we're going to go ahead and work on our triangle. So here is our first triangle that we cut off, and that was from the card base itself right here. Now we're going to need a piece of white paper, and we're going to cut a white piece of paper at 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. So I'm going to take this piece of paper, I'm going to go at, I wonder if that's what this is. This is 5 1/4. So we're going to go 5 1/8. So I'll cut that little bit off here, throw this away, and I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4. So I'm going to move this to 2 1/4 and go down. And then this is a scrap piece that I will use for something, not sure what. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to angle this from corner to corner. So now when you're cutting with your cutting blade corner to corner, you'll want to start your cutting blade in the middle. Hold it very good, securely, go up and then go down. That way you got nice crisp corners. Now let's see how well this goes in here like that perfectly. See, got a nice little fine 1/8 inch border. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for my card. This one I can use for a second card. And then I'm going to take a piece of designer series paper, and I want the green paper. And we'll see if this strip will be big enough. I'm trying to use up my scraps, so this I need at 1 7/8. So let's measure this and see if we're at 1 7/8. It says just below 2, and my goodness, this is going to actually be exactly 1 7/8. And then we need it across at 4 7/8, and we're going to go ahead up here to 4 7/8 and cut this here. And I'll have this little piece that I can use for another card. I'm just going to put it over to the side, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go corner to corner, and we're going to put our cutting blade in the middle. We're going to hold this really securely. Now, the reason why you need to really hold this securely is because vellum is a little more slippery than paper. So you want to make sure that it doesn't move when you're cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and put my thumb right there and that right there. Close it, hold it really secure, cut up, cut down. And then I've got two pieces. Let's see how well they fit in here. And we'll go ahead and put that right like that. And then this one will fit just like that in there. Okay, perfect. So I've got two pieces. I think I like this piece better. I got two pieces that fit perfectly. I'm going to use this for another card, so I'm going to set that aside for another card since I have two of these. And so then we've got our first big diamond. Okay, so now we need to make the little diamond, and so I'm going to need a piece of green cardstock, and I've got some scraps here. I've got this scrap and I got this scrap. I'm not sure this is going to be big enough, but let's see, because it could be. I need 1.5 by 5.5. This might be 1.5. It's pretty close. I'm going to try it. Okay, so I'm going to use this 1.5. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go corner to corner. And the important thing too with your triangles, make sure you're always going the same way. Like I always have my triangle going out this way. But if you had it going this way, well, with cardstock, it isn't going to matter because you can just turn it and it'll fit one way or the other. But always make sure with pattern paper that you're always going the same way. Because if I went this way, it would make my triangle angle totally different. So I always make sure that when I'm cutting, I cut always the same way. All right, so I'm going point to point. And I'm going to hold this down. Oops, I don't have my blade in the middle. And that moved just ever so slightly, so we're going to move it back. And then we're going to go up. We're going to go down. And now I've got this green base here. And that's my first one. Now I'm going to take that same scrap of white paper that I used before. And because it was just slightly larger, now I'm going to make it a little smaller. Okay, so we're going to need, oh, no. Yes, I need white. We're going to need 1 1/4 at 5 1/4. So I am going to do one. Let's see if this is 5 1/4. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, 5 1/4. So we're going to do 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to go down. And again, make sure that you're always angling it the same. So I'm going to go ahead and angle this here like that, corner to corner. Set it down. Oh, bring my blade up into the middle. Lock it. Cut. Okay. So then I have this piece fits here. This piece should fit perfectly here, and it does. Oh wow, I love angles, but they can be tricky, and that's why it's really, you have to be really careful to make sure you're always angling it the same way, because otherwise if you, with the plain paper, it doesn't really matter because you can just turn it over. But if you didn't angle it the same way with your pattern paper, see how it would be? You couldn't line it up. It would just look kind of weird. So always make sure that you're angling it when you cut it the same way. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for our card, and then I need a strip of Designer Series paper, and I want the floral again, And that is going to be 1 inch. I got a couple scraps here. This looks like an inch. Yep, that's an inch. So I'll use that and leave that larger scrap for another project. And I want 1 inch by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that 5, like that. And I hate to throw any designer series paper away. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring this up in the middle. I'm going to move this right here, corner to corner. This is going to be really tight because this is, like I said, this is a little slippery, so you want to make sure it doesn't move. Hold it very tightly, go down, oh, and go up. Okay, and that should fit perfectly in here, and it does. So there are your angles. So let's put our card together. I am going to need a little piece. Let's see if I have another little scrap. I'm going to need a little piece for my saying, and I think it's going to be about like, I think it's about 1 inch. That looks good. I'll just cut a 1 inch by 1.5. I think 1.5 is good for my happy birthday. Put on there, and I think I'll throw that little square away, but I'm going to keep that other piece for another thing. So let's put our pieces together, get our card going so it looks really pretty. And here we go. Got all of our pieces. I hope. Where did I put them all? Right here they are. Okay. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the inside of my card, because I usually write a message to my friends. I don't stamp it, but if you're going to stamp it first before you adhere it, because that gives you, if you don't stamp it exactly right the first time, you can always flip the side and stamp it on the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that. I'm not going to stamp it because I write a message, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And also, when you're doing that, make sure that you, okay, we're going to line this up so there's a nice little border all the way around. You don't want to write out here. So make sure you just write on the inside. All right. And so now I'm going to go ahead and put this white piece on here like that. The cutting is the hardest part, making sure those angles are just right. And it takes a little bit of patience, but this is such a pretty, pretty card. Like I said, it was so worth it. Okay, so I got that on. I'm going to go ahead and put my pretty, I've got stuff hanging on me. Here we go. Pretty vellum paper. The one thing I really like about this thick vellum paper too, like you can use regular adhesive. Remember when we used to get special adhesive and everything? It really doesn't show. It looks, you can put regular adhesive on there and it won't show anything. So there we go, got that done. Then we're gonna start layering here. And I'm gonna just layer these together. So I'm gonna put a little adhesive here. And get some on that tip so it doesn't show. And I do use my liquid glue a lot. I do like that more and more for cards because it gives me, especially on this, because you wanna line this up the best you can. Gives me a little bit of grace. Okay, I don't use liquid glue on this though. I usually use the adhesive roll thing that we have. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and line this up so that it's got a little bit of border all the way around. And there's my first piece. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my second piece. And make sure that I have all my angles right. Remember, it only takes a little bit of a slip and your angles are off. Okay. And we'll go down here a little bit on the tip. And we'll go ahead and put that one in there like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my designer paper on there. love that. So pretty. And then, yes, I am going to use dimensionals. So then we're going to go ahead and put this here and line that right up. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to put dimensionals on here. And when you put dimensionals on it, line this up. Oops, I need a little bit more adhesive right here on the tip. So that lays down nice. Okay. You don't want the dimensionals showing on the side or your adhesive. Even if you don't use dimensionals, kind of eyeball. I line it up, open up my card. So I'm folding it. This corner goes to this corner goes to that corner, and this corner goes to that corner. Okay. And I'm going to open it up. So I want it right about here. You could also, I eyeball it, but if you wanted to draw a little pencil line here so you knew not to put your adhesive over that line, because otherwise your card would stick together and you wouldn't be able to open it. But I just go ahead and eyeball it. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals down here like this. And I'm going to use some little ones too to get all the way down to the tip. Right here. And then, yes, I finally got my new Picket tool and I didn't bring it down here to use it. I've been crabbing about it for what, a month? And then I finally ordered one and I finally got it in the mail and I didn't even bring it down. But this, my scissors work pretty good, kind of like the Picket tool, because I like to pick up several at one time. I love that tool. I should have probably ordered more than one, because pick your tool, because it does so many things. I just love that little shovel on it too, because when I adhere something down and I don't like it, I can slide my little shovel under there and it's so thin. Okay, so that's my first layer. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop up this one too. And I don't think you're going to have any problem with the dimensionals. You don't have to use the dimensionals. I just like them. So I like the dimension that they give. And I think they add some interest. So this one, it doesn't matter because it's going to lay on top of this. Oh, no, it does matter because it goes up. So before I said too much here, I'm glad I said something because to myself, because yes, the same thing, you're going to want that little bit of edge right here. I start talking and then I forget what I'm doing because it's going to go up like this. So you don't want it showing. So make sure that you don't do the very top of it like I tried to do. Don't do what I do. Do what I tell you to do. Okay. And then I'm going to take a couple of little ones just to get down there in that point. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then you're going to line this up again. You're going to line this up. Oops, I got a little bit of fuzz right there. There we go. Going to line this up corner to corner here so that it like peeks out at the top, and then try to center it the best you can. Mine's already sticking. Give me a little chance here to get it right. Okay, corner to corner and line it up, lay it down. Perfect. Okay, so there you go. There is that. And then of course I'm going to put a little happy birthday here. I'm going to use Peaceful Pine with that. Let's see if I can find my Peaceful Pine stamp pad. It was right here. Oh, here it is. It's right behind me. It's going to bite me. And I have a little happy birthday on a stamp pad. So I'm going to go ahead and this will be nice because I have a lot of birthdays coming up. So I need to make some birthday cards. And it's just nice to have them on hand. And I love really pretty ones. So, okay. And so make sure you get this nice and you can see it, whether the ink is nice and good, and then press it down. And that is crooked and I don't like it. Another thing you can do, which I didn't do the first time, is you can just rub your acrylic stamp a little bit on your inside of your arm. It roughens it up a little bit and lets the ink absorb into the stamp better, so you get a nicer, crisper look. Oh, man, what do I got on there? I'm gonna have to cut another little piece. So let's throw that away, and we'll grab, I think I have another little piece in here I can just grab out somewhere. Maybe not. Okay, so let's grab another little piece of this, and I'll go ahead and stamp it because I've already cut that. And we'll stamp it on there like that. And you could put some dimensionals on this as well. Another thing that you can do that I thought was really pretty that we always forget to do, this is about an inch. Okay. I knew I was going to need that little scrap. Oh, and I'm out of the camera, aren't I? I just cut this to an inch. Okay, so that, move this over here, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on this. If you wanted to put a little bit of green peaceful pine on there, you could do that as well, just to make this pop a little more. I'm just going to put my happy birthday on there. So, I'm going to just set it here in the corner. And there is your beautiful card. Another thing you could do is if you wanted to cut another little strip here, you could add a little strip here. And let me give you the measurements for this. I don't think I measured this out. So let me give you the measurements for this. This would be this would be 2.5 by 5, and then that would fit right in the corner here as a little border. So you can leave it white or you can have it as a border. It kind of just depends. So you want it at 2.5 by 5, and then you cut it angle to angle again, the same thing. So it gives you a little more interest. And one last thing that we always forget to do is decorate our envelopes, but I use just a little scrap of this paper and put it on the back of my envelope. I just love dressing up the envelopes. I think it makes it look like you're getting some special mail when you have a pretty little envelope that comes in the mail. So that is our Sunday paper fun today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some tips, and I hope you make some cards to share with your friends. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Sunday.